People ask me, how do you manifest your dreams and goals and purposes, and how do you do it? Well, let me ask you first, have you even written down what your goals are, what your purposes are, what you want to achieve? There's some really great things with Brandon and Natalie Dawson that talk about personal, professional, financial goals. Have you even written down, or do you even know, and do you even ask the people around you what their personal, professional, financial goals? It's fascinating when I've worked with businesses and I'll meet with the staff and I'll ask them what their personal, professional, financial goals are, and I'll find that they're maybe sometimes very aligned with the company. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And then I've asked other ones where I'm like, wow, this isn't aligned at all. They're ready to bounce at any given time for this next opportunity that they're looking for, and it's not here. I would first say, get what your own personal, professional, financial goals are, and then ask those around you that are part of your group what their personal, professional, financial goals are, so that everybody's actually aligned. Because misalignment is what causes disengagement and failure. But if we have everybody on the same page, that's a really great way to achieve your goals. Now, the second thing is to watch what you actually say. One of the things I've heard Brandon Dawson say is, what you think is what you say, is what you do is what your legacy is. And what I would think with that is that when you say things, even the smallest little bit of negativity, it can create that. I tell people around me that it's kind of like a genie. They will grant you your wishes, but it's so literal that if you wish your thing incorrectly, that you'll get the wrong wish. For example, I've heard someone say, I want to make $1 million, although I know I can't do it right away. Cut out the not right away thing. Or they're like, well, I want to be able to do this, but I know that it could never be perfect. That never could be perfect is exactly what you're manifesting, because you're saying it. I've heard a lot of people, and I'm sure you've heard in business, where like, oh, you can't find good people. You can't get good people. And so what instead needs to be done is just say exactly what your intention is. Then I watched a very awesome video today where it talked about, if you were told that you got $1 million and you put it into the bank and the bank said you'd have it in 10 days, that you would resonate this actual manifestation and like this energy and this joy and walking around with this confidence. Or if you were told you got your dream job, but it doesn't happen for 2 weeks and you're walking around like, oh my God, I got this dream job. You would have that energy, and having that energy and that joy and that perspective, sometimes to be in a certain condition, you have to act and be that way before you can even be there. There's people that say that, like, to be a certain way, you got to be that way first. And I think that that's an important concept. Another one is there was a kid they had on a video reel that said that he had tested really high on his SAT score, and he had previously been failing and was dumb and not doing well, and everyone thought he cheated. He's like, no, I didn't. This is just really the score. But at that point, he thought he was a genius, so he acted like a genius, graduated high school, he graduated college, and then at the end of the day, he was really successful. And then he got something in the mail saying, oh, just so you know, we confused your scores. You actually only got a 760 on your SAT. It's the moral of the story. How you act, what you believe, what is in what you can have happen. It's important too when you're dealing with employees that you're not like, oh, they're terrible. Guess what? They're going to show up terrible. But if you're like, you know what? I know they're great. I'm going to help them be great. I'm going to continue to curate them to be great. They will show up great. It is true of how you act and respond to the environment, and how you behave and what you're thinking is what you're going to manifest. And it's important that you have clear what you want, because a lot of times people are just like, well, I want to do blah. Great. And then what? Then what do you want to do with that? Maybe it's like a money manifestation. I want to make $1 million. Great. Let's say you've made $1 million. What are you going to do with that? How is that going to fulfill you? What are you going to do with that money? How are you going to use that money? How is it going to make you happy? Because it is true when they say money doesn't make you happy, but I guarantee if you need a root canal and you don't have money, you're definitely not going to be happy. But I do say this is, if you know what you're going to do with that, great, I'm going to help open an apartment complex that's going to give housing for unhoused people, or I'm going to give money to a family who's trying to save their child in the hospital. That brings me joy. That gets me excited. That'll wake me up every day and give me a purpose. The underlying thing is, find the purpose of what you're doing. And if you don't know, figure it out, find out. Try some different options, see what you like. People ask me all the time, why are you always so happy? Not always, of course, we always have bad days. But I can tell you is I know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and I'm excited to do it. And I'm thrilled to be working with other people that are excited to do what they're doing for a reason and for a purpose. Because when you have a purpose, you have a target and a goal. I've told people, like, if you were a sniper, you would have to have the exact angle, the exact degree, the exact wind, everything. But if you're just like, I'm generally gonna go for this target over here, you're never gonna hit a target. The more specific you are in your goals and your targets, the easier it is for your team to be led, the easier it is to hit a target, so that you can achieve your goals and purposes.